Hi, everybody. It's Tom Woods. I'm here with Jeff Herbener, professor and chairman of the Department of Economics at Grove City College. Jeff, welcome to whatever show this is.
Well, thanks, Tom. It's great. Great to be here.
Thanks. Glad to have you. The reason I asked you to come on the show today is you are an unusual case because we have a lot of people who are Austrian economists who indeed went through mainstream programs. I think that's the norm for most Austrian economists. But they were more or less Austrians when they entered the program, and they just knew that, okay, I'm also going to learn the mainstream, but I'm an Austrian to start with. But you went through a mainstream program, were trained as a mainstream economist, taught as a mainstream economist, and now, I mean, aren't you like an editor of the Quarterly Journal of Austrian Economics? How did that happen? I mean, first of all, did you ever encounter Austrian economics in your graduate work?
There was one encounter, one very brief encounter. It was in a course on monetary theory, actually. And the course was taught by Frank Steindl, who is a new Keynesian. So he's kind of a Leon Hufvud guy. And he made one reference to Böhm-Bawerk's idea of roundabout production. And that was it.
That
was what I got.
Did that whet your appetite for more?
Actually, it was a rather intriguing reference because it didn't seem to have anything to do with monetary theory. I thought, well, where does this come from? Why is he bringing this in? And so I did actually pursue it a little bit. I sort of found out a little bit about who Böhm-Bawerk was because of that reference. And but that was it. That was it. Even in undergrad, there was no exposure that I had at all to any Austrian.
Well, so then how did you become acquainted with the school?
Well, after I finished my graduate work, I was a free market economist, and of course knew Friedman. That was my introduction, I think, as many students of economics are introduced to free market economics that way. And after I finished my graduate studies, I just began to do my own reading, and I read through Friedman, found it somewhat less than perfectly satisfactory. And so I went on to Hayek, so there were references to Hayek in the literature. Read Hayek, and again, I found it better, more satisfying than Friedman, but certainly
hard
not.
reading, though.
Yeah, that was somewhat difficult.
I mean, we're not talking about The Road to Serfdom. I think most people just think of no,
exactly.
This is his
hardcore stuff,
from
right?
the 30s, yeah.
And then of course, Mises's name comes up prominently in Hayek's work. And when I read Mises, that was it. So I just read Mises, and then I said, well, okay, that's real economics. That's what I've been searching for.
So now you must have realized at the time that professionally you stood to gain nothing by making this kind of paradigm shift. I mean, were you thinking in those terms, or did that not even, you were such a platonic form of goodness that it didn't even enter your mind?
It was not, I would say, in the forefront of my mind, the career implications, but probably because I was just too naive to think them through carefully. Not that it would have mattered to me, I don't think. I just wanted to know what was true and right, and pursued it, as best I could.
So it was through a series of footnotes.
That's correct. Yeah, that's basically it.
And so at that point, you realized I have to rethink a whole lot of things, and it's not even just I have to rethink this one policy outcome or the policy proposal or this or that. I mean, Mises is proposing, as compared to what you'd learned from Friedman, a total reconstruction of the way you think.
Yeah, absolutely true. Yeah, so one thing leads to another. You read Human Action, you get to the first part of it where he's talking about epistemology and so on, and sort of shocking and to your training, right, to think this way. Because again, I got the standard kind of epistemology training in graduate school, which is you read Friedman's 1953 article on positivism, and that was basically it, right?
Yeah,
we're all just logical positivists now. And so this was eye-opening, although maybe I was more prepared to accept this because I never really thought logical positivism was very fulfilling way to proceed.
So from Mises, then, did you read Murray Rothbard
Yes,
next?
Mises, Rothbard was next. And that was it was much easier to absorb from a mainstream training. Rothbard was much easier to absorb, and because he has all the analytics and he lays things out the way that a neoclassical economist would do the work.
Yeah, I find it interesting, as Joe Salerno points out in his introduction to a recent edition of Man, Economy, and State, that Rothbard hardly ever even uses the term Austrian economics in that book. He thinks of himself as laying out economics, and he's trying to engage with the mainstream and steer them in the right direction.
Yeah, that's an excellent point that Joe makes. And again, coming from my position as I read through Man, Economy, and State, it was exactly my reaction. You look at the footnotes, and it's all to the literature that was current in his day.
Yeah.
I mean, he's entertaining and engaging with the economists of his day who are just regular economists.
Right, and I think people who haven't read Rothbard would assume the opposite of him.
Right.
That he's just closed off and dogmatic and he's not going to interact. Exactly the opposite. Yeah, the footnotes, and that's why I like the recent edition of Man, Economy, and State, because the footnotes are right there on the same page, and you can see them. So you're telling me that at your college, Grove City College, which is a highly ranked liberal arts school, you're the department chairman. What textbooks are you using? How are you teaching economics to kids?
Yeah, until Dr. Rittenauer wrote his textbook, Foundations of Economics.
Who's also an Austrian.
He was an Austrian, right?
Yeah.
I used Man, Economy, and State
Yeah.
as the text in Principles of Macro, Principles of Micro.
And then what did you use for as a public finance? What did you use for that?
Yeah, we used Power and Market.
Power and Market by Murray
Public
Rothbard.
Finance. That's right. And then we used Theory of Money and Credit for money and banking.
Yeah. So I mean
It's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, you're not going to find a lot of programs like that. Now, that's why I'm glad that you are teaching Austrian economics for libertyclassroom.com. What are students going to learn if they go through the 35 lectures of your Introduction to Austrian Economics?
Well, they're going to learn exactly what I learned going through Human Action and Man, Economy, and State. So I've tried to, condense this and provide it in a manner that's accessible to anyone who wishes to start off and move through the process of learning about Austrian economics.
And people can just listen to this in their cars, and every day, just your commute, you can get one lecture, and then you can repeat it. I mean, my recommendation is you listen once on the way to work and to the same one back on the way back, because your brain now is ready to receive it, I think, more effectively the second time through. And what I like about the way you organize the course is that for the recommended readings, obviously people don't have to read, they don't have the time, but I think a lot of people feel like, I can't possibly read the big treatises, so I better just stay away. I'm not worthy to even open their covers. But you've got them going right in, and you've picked out just the pages that you're talking about, so that people can really feel like, oh my gosh, I'm actually reading the masters.
Yeah, I think they can, in fact, entertain, especially Man, Economy, and State. They start at the beginning, and they can build along with Rothbard just systematically through the whole process.
Right. I mean, in that first chapter where he's just talking about the implications of a ham sandwich,
right?
You think, hey, you know what? Maybe I can do this.
I can do this, right?
That's right. Well, Jeff Herbener, thanks for taking some time on the unnamed show with me. Everybody, this has been Jeff Herbener, and thanks for watching. Make sure and join us at libertyclassroom.com, where all the cool people are learning the history and economics they didn't teach you.